Welcome students to the English class once again. I hope you're ready today. 8th graders, we are going to talk about health and illnesses. So let's go. I'm Akshay Singh.
And I'm Monica Toothache.
But of course, you remember, before we really move on to the topic, let's have a look at the homework. Please take out your homework and check it. Last time we had talked about the first and the second conditionals. Remember the rules and apply them here. The first one, if we don't work harder, we won't pass the exam. This is possible, so the first conditional.
The second one, he's coming to our offices tomorrow. If I see him, I'll give him the message.
Perfect. So please note, students, again, first conditional, possible. If I see him, I will. The simple future tense. The third one, we would move if we had the money. Unfortunately, new houses are very expensive in this area. Because this is a situation that cannot happen, it is not possible, I am using the second conditional, would move.
Next one, if I were a millionaire, I'd still work so that I didn't get bored.
The fifth one, if I tell you a secret, will you promise not to tell anyone?
The sixth one, do you think it would be better if I wait another week, or shall I sell my shares in the company now?
Again, the simple future. If he causes any more problems, I will fire him. So please students, once again go through the first and second conditionals, and now we are ready to move on.
Let's see the learning goals. Today we're going to learn and be able to use vocabulary concerned with health and illnesses. Obiectivul nostru de învățare este să definim anumite noțiuni legate de sănătate sau de probleme medicale.
Let's have a look at some common diseases and listen to the pronunciation also. Cough. You want to see a doctor about that cough.
Headache or fever. She's got a headache and a slight fever.
The cold. Radu has a bad cold and won't go to school today.
Or we can have broken arm. Andrei had a broken arm.
Sometimes we have a toothache. I have got a toothache, so I must go to a dentist.
Or a stomachache. He was so nervous that he got a stomachache.
Remember this word, bruise. I've got many little bruises on my hand.
Sunburn. The good sun cream will help prevent sunburn.
Monica, I really like that picture. The egg is actually frying on him.
Yeah, me too. It's very funny.
And a backache. Alex had a backache after picking up the heavy box.
Oh, poor Alex. We're gonna have a flu. She had a bout of flu over Christmas.
Insomnia. Raluka can't sleep at night. I think I should change this name to Monica can't sleep at night.
That's
she
right.
has insomnia.
All right. We have asthma. She uses an inhaler for her asthma.
As you can see in the picture. Diabetes. Maria has diabetes and shouldn't eat sweets.
Or sprain. Lucas sprained his ankle while he was running.
And we say a heart attack. He had a heart attack and had to be taken to the hospital.
Let's talk about some medical supplies and equipment. We can have braces. Sarah has got braces on her teeth.
Braces, an ambulance. The injured were rushed to hospital in an ambulance.
First aid kit. We should always keep a first aid kit in the house. It's necessary.
It's necessary. Crutches. You may have seen these. He has broken his leg and walks on crutches.
Bandage. The doctor put a bandage around the wound.
And a stethoscope. The doctor has a stethoscope around his neck.
Wheelchair. He has to use a wheelchair to get around.
and we use a thermometer. She put the thermometer in his mouth for the temperature.
Or a stretcher, they put him on a stretcher and took him to the ambulance.
We also have a walker. Sometimes people use a walker. He now needs a walker to get around.
Or a syringe or injection. I don't like taking injections. Yeah, that's very true. I don't like at all.
Extremely true. An X-ray. The doctor asked Christian to get an X-ray of his chest.
Now let's talk about people or things associated with health.
First we have the surgeon. The surgeon is performing an eye operation.
We can have psychologists. I think you ought to see a psychologist.
And of course, the most important, nurse. A nurse cleaned and bandaged the wound.
A family doctor, you should consult your family doctor for further advice.
We have the veterinarian. Shelley took the sick cat to a veterinarian.
Or a dentist, I went to my dentist to have a tooth taken out.
And of course, the patient, the doctor told the patient to be patient.
Or a prescription, I wonder why all prescriptions are so difficult to read.
A pharmacy or a chemist. Julian went to the pharmacy to buy the medicine.
Eye doctor, optometrist, ophthalmologist. Gabriela has to go to the optometrist to check her eyes.
And the opticians. Tomorrow I am going to the optician to get my new glasses.
And a clinic, Viorel is going to the clinic to get his tests done.
Some other words, remember a diet. The doctor told Mariana to go on a diet because she had put on a lot of weight.
A cast or plaster, his leg is in a cast after the accident.
And of course, medicine. Don't forget to take your medicine after your breakfast, said Marian.
I really like that he used Romanian names for the examples.
And now let's move on to watch a small conversation at the doctor's clinic. What we'd like you all to do, students, is listen to this carefully. Try to use the language as much as possible.
Good morning, Mrs. Jones. What seems to be the problem?
Well, Doctor, I've got a sore throat and a bad cough. I've also got a headache.
How long have you had these symptoms?
About 4 days now, and I'm feeling really tired too.
It sounds like you've got the flu. Take 2 aspirin every 4 hours. You should also get lots of rest and drink plenty of fluids. If you don't feel better in a couple of days, give me a call.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good morning, Mrs. Jones. What seems to be the problem?
Well, Doctor, I've got a sore throat and a bad cough. I've also got a headache.
How long have you had these symptoms?
About 4 days now, and I'm feeling really tired too.
It sounds like you've got the flu. Take 2 aspirin every 4 hours. You should also get lots of rest and drink plenty of fluids. If you don't feel better in a couple of days, give me a call.
Thank you, Doctor.
Listen and repeat. Good morning, Mrs. Jones. What seems to be the problem?
Well, Doctor, I've got a sore throat and a bad cough. I've also got a headache.
How long have you had these symptoms?
About 4 days now, and I'm feeling really tired too.
It sounds like you've got the flu. Take 2 aspirin every 4 hours. You should also get lots of rest and drink plenty of fluids. if you don't feel better in a couple of days, give me a call.
Thank you, Doctor.
And now, students, let's move on. Today we are trying to focus a little bit on your speaking and listening also. So let's go through this listening exercise now. You're going to listen carefully and just try to answer whether the statements are true or false. The recording will be played twice for you. These are the questions. If you are feeling well, you can make an appointment to see the doctor after you listen to the conversation. Try to see if you can get the right answers.
The second one, in Britain, doctors see their patients in the doctor's office, and you are going to tell us if it's true or false.
Correct. The receptionist will probably ask for your identity card.
The doctor will ask you about your symptoms first.
If he knows what's wrong with you, he will examine you.
And you will take the prescription to the grocery to buy your medicines.
And now, students, listen carefully to the conversation and let's see if you can get these answers correctly. You can take a photo of this if you want and be ready for the listening exercise.
Listening comprehension. Listen to the text and answer the true-false questions on your PDF. If you are feeling ill or have a medical problem, you can make an appointment to see the doctor. In Britain, the place where doctors see their patients is called a surgery. In America, it's a doctor's office. When you arrive for your appointment, the secretary or receptionist will probably ask you to wait in the waiting room until the doctor is ready to see you. When you finally get to see the doctor, he will usually begin by asking you to describe your symptoms. He may then give you an examination or take your blood pressure, for example. If the doctor knows what's wrong with you, he will give you some advice and perhaps prescribe some medicine. You will have to take the prescription to the chemist's to get the medicine. Hopefully, you will get well soon. Listening comprehension. Listen to the text and answer the true-false questions on your PDF. If you are feeling ill or have a medical problem, you can make an appointment to see the doctor. In Britain, the place where doctors see their patients is called a surgery. In America, it's a doctor's office. When you arrive for your appointment, the secretary or receptionist will probably ask you to wait in the waiting room until the doctor is ready to see you. When you finally get to see the doctor, he will usually begin by asking you to describe your symptoms. He may then give you an examination or take your blood pressure, for example. If the doctor knows what's wrong with you, he will give you some advice and perhaps prescribe some medicine. You will have to take the prescription to the chemist's to get the medicine. Hopefully, you will get well soon.
Are you ready, students? Let's have a look. What is true, what is false according to the conversation? The first one. If you are feeling ill, you can make an appointment to see the doctor. Obviously, he said that. It was true.
The second one, in Britain, doctors see their patients in the doctor's office. According to our recording, it was false information.
If you listen carefully, you will remember that in Britain they call it a doctor's surgery. The third one, the receptionist will probably ask for your identity card. This one also false. She will most probably ask you to wait in the waiting room.
The fourth one, the doctor will ask you about your symptoms first. It was a true statement.
If the doctor knows what's wrong with you, he will examine you.
And you will take the prescription to the grocery to buy your medicine. It is false information as well.
Where do you take the prescription? Exactly, to the chemist. And now it's time for us to practice, try to go back, try to remember what we had talked about, and let's see if we can do this exercise. When there is a rise in body temperature, we have usually a fever,
He checks your eyes. Let's see who checks your eyes. Optometrist, the optometrist.
And when we have a broken leg, it is usually put in a cast.
A person who goes to the doctor or hospital, it's called patient.
And she is the person who helps the doctor.
Let's see who makes your glasses. It's the optician.
And the place where you buy your medicine from is obviously the pharmacy. And we continue.
You carry the patient on this to the ambulance. It is the stretcher.
This is used for going around when your leg is broken. Crutches.
Right, the doctor writes the medicine. It's a prescription.
And mostly we won't be able to understand it, but that's okay. The pharmacist understands. The doctor who treats your teeth is obviously the dentist.
Let's see what you feel during exams. It's stress, a lot of stress, and not only during exams. It's part of our daily lives as well.
It's part of our daily life.
Unfortunately, yeah.
This is the place you go for blood tests, to the clinic.
She treats your cat, the veterinarian, of course.
Of course. Let's have a little conversation about health.
Okay, so Akshay, did you have any major medical problems?
Well, Monica, there was one major problem that I had. That was when I had an accident. I was driving a car. I had a terrible accident and I had broken my leg. They had put it in a cast or in a plaster, and I was bedridden for almost 7 or 8 months. And after that, I had to also use crutches for a long time. What about you, Monica?
It was a long period. Oh my
It was
goodness.
a really long period. Monica, what do you do to stay fit?
Well, to be honest, I don't do anything special to stay fit. And in my opinion, being healthy means to be emotionally and mentally fit. Not only physically, and we need to take into account a lot of aspects, including this mental and spiritual state of mind, in order to look good and to feel good in our lives.
Very well said, Monica. That is so important. Health also means our mental health and our emotional health.
Right.
Now, students, we have a few questions for you.
Series of questions relating to the topic of this lesson. Pause the recording to give yourself time to answer, and don't just answer yes or no. Try to give as much information as possible. How often do you go to the doctors? When and why did you last go to see the doctor? How are you feeling at the moment? What's the health service like in your country? Would you like to be a doctor?
We have written down the questions that were played in the recording. We would like you to go through these questions and to give us answers. How often do you go to the doctors?
When and why did you last go to see the doctor?
How are you feeling at the moment?
What's the health service like in your country? Well, this will be very interesting.
This should be very interesting.
Yeah.
Would you like to be a doctor? Why or why not? Once again, students, what we were trying to tell you is that we'd like you to actually speak. Write it down if you wish, but start practicing actually speaking the answers. That will help a lot. That would be your homework for the next time. Please remember to do that. We'll see you again soon. We'd like to give our acknowledgements for some sites that we used. Stay safe, students, and stay healthy.
For the next class, we're going to discuss about grammar, present continuous with a future meaning for the 6th graders, and
for the 8th graders, we will have some grammar. We will be reviewing the past tenses. So be ready, students. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.